Hello, my loves. Day 13, week two. Today I have a heavy, heady topic, pun intended, and you'll hear my pun in a minute. So today I want to speak about the gene key that we're transiting through. And so I'm going to be reading a few excerpts from the Gene Key Bible and from a blog that I love that I will also link up in the video notes, show notes. I think that's what the professionals call it. And we're going to talk about the energy that we're transiting through. And I think this is very helpful. I can't promise that I'll do this every week just because I'm keeping that part of this project free. But today, anyway, we will talk about the gene key that we are transiting through. So I have my phone and some notes, so you may see me kind of looking down and referencing and speaking and talking in that way. From July 12th to July 18th, we will be in Gene Key 62. So our sun is transiting through Gene Key 62. It is a very much so neck up energy, or I should say mouth up energy. So there's a lot of head frequency floating around this week. And very interesting to check out your human design as well and see if you are someone who naturally has defined head energy and see if this week has felt like an oil change, like you're just optimally processing and getting extra energy, illuminating spaces that already feel like well paved paths in your mind. Or perhaps you are someone like me who has an open head and ajna, and this energy this week has felt very fresh and new. It's felt like I've had access to ideas that I didn't even know existed. And I've had a lot of inspiration come. And I've also had some overthinking in some areas as well. And this can be certainly, as you will hear more of as I dig into the gene key, at the shadow state, the shadow frequency. So it's all good. We take it, we take all of it, and let it percolate through us. But we, as Richard says, always, Richard Rudd, the founder of Gene Keys, to focus about 85 to 90% of your energy, potentially more on the gift in the city. However, we will speak about the shadow today so that you can have an understanding of it, because what we understand, we have some sort of power and focus, I believe. Whereas if we are ignorant or we don't understand, we're in the dark around it, we've given our power away in some way without even knowing it. So the 62, the gift, or sorry, let's start with the shadow. Shadow is intellect, the gift is precision, and the city is impeccability. I love that word. It's so juicy. It's just precise, isn't it? So let's talk about the shadow first and foremost. And I'm going to read from one of my most favorite blogs that just really pulls some beautiful nuggets from Gene Keys and makes them very digestible. So, an obsession with facts is the shadow of intellect, which also Richard speaks about in the audio on the Triple Flame app, that it's his free app, and he speaks about the pulse, which is the transit that we are moving through. And he has an audio on there where he says it's an interesting key and shadow when we start to consider intellect as a lower frequency, and you'll hear why. So, an obsession with facts, it may be shocking to realize that the intellect is a shadow. It's a shadow because it is rooted in dualism, and duality is such a paradox, not to itself, but to truth. Facts and truth are not the same. Deep breath around that. Facts and truth are not the same. They're not even of the same dimension. So, facts need to be distrusted. To the intellect, dualism is all there is. So it only sees life in opposites: good, bad, right, wrong, pass, fail. And our world is fabricated out of that. We don't really realize it because we grow up with it. It's everywhere. It's the structure of our societies. It's embedded in our language and emotional bodies. It's how our perception works, but it isn't all that there is. I'll break down the repressive nature of the shadow and the reactive nature of the shadow. I am reading from the Gene Keys Bible. I like to refer to it as it is the Gene Key book. I mean, you could literally just search that and you'll find it. And it breaks down every single key shadow gift city with extensive information around it. And again, this is why it's so helpful sometimes to find a blog that just pulls out the excerpts that resonate with you. And when I read through, I highlighted some pieces I felt were relevant, and I'll just share that. But I definitely would recommend grabbing the book, especially if you connect with anything in relation to Gene Keys. Repressive nature, obsessive. And typically, just to give a little disclaimer, you will usually resonate with one or the other, either repressive or reactive. It could depend on your conditioning. It could depend on your elemental makeup, meaning, are you a very fiery person? You may find you're more reactive. If you're a very watery person, you may find you're more repressive. From my experience, rarely do I see myself in both aspects of the shadow. I typically niche right into one. Not to use my shadow of intellect and make it black and white, but there we go. Repressive nature, obsessive. When the 60-second shadow turns inward, it becomes obsessive. Everything about this 62 gene key is about focusing on the small details. When fear manifests through the shadow, it uses details as a way to avoid feeling its own suffering. These people become lost in the mundane world, living a life of endless details with little or no creative outlet for their life force. Such people are held prisoner by their minds rather than by the details themselves. For the majority of humanity, however, this shadow serves to repress the natural sparkle of the individual by keeping her or him locked into a monotonous mindset where details are both one's crutch and one's enemy. And then the reactive nature. Pedantic? You like that? These people use their intellect to attack everything outside them in an attempt to defend their own deep insecurity. Such people are entirely in the grip of their intellect, which questions everything endlessly, and in particular delights in finding obscure details and facts that disprove and disempower others. Such people are also truly unable to switch off their minds. They focus on other people in order to not look into themselves. The source of this complex is a sense of rage, which the mind keeps bottled up until something or someone triggers its release, which is a fairly frequent occurrence. So, as you can see, it's like we said, it's this obsession with the facts instead of truth. So the gift. I love this gift. Precision. As the gift of precision grows stronger, it may seem as though the world gradually begins to come alive again. Intelligence recognizes intelligence, and with the mind out of the way, the invisible essence that connects all beings in is once felt again. I love this example so much, so hang with me as you try to understand the gift of precision and just breathe and listen and receive this. For example, when you look at a tree through the 60-second shadow, so when you look at it through that intellect brain, that facts only black and white brain, you register only the facts that you have learned about the tree. You register its name, type, and any words connected to it, branches, twigs, leaves, and so on. But you never see the actual tree. The tree is intelligent. And to really know the tree, you have to use your own intelligence. This means that you don't simply look through your eyes and mind. You take the tree into your being. You feel its aliveness, its mysterious aura. You actually breathe it into yourself. Precision is what happens when intelligence is born. It's not simply about being precise and exact at an intellectual level. It's a completely new way of seeing life. Precision is inspirational and original. Such inspiration does not depend on your vocabulary. When the gift of precision describes something, it arranges facts in ways that are inspirational and exciting rather than dull and dry. As this gift arises in a person, they begin to communicate with such economy and exactness that almost everything they say is beautiful, poignant, and seamless. Such people soon develop keen gifts as communicators, speakers, writers, actors, artists, and scientists. This gift is designed to find the limelight. When the heart leads the way and uses logic to describe what it sees and feels, others cannot help but to listen. I have a few more nuggets on this gift, but I just will encourage you to take a deep breath as you contemplate this and contemplate how some of this frequency may have came up for you over the past couple of days and how it may still be arising in you, even potentially now as we're speaking about it. I love how it connects into language, and that's what this next nugget is about. All right. The throat center is where the greatest human initiation occurs. Once the higher involuntary currents begin to use your voice to transmute their truths, you begin a process of detaching from your own identity. The 60-second gene key allows access to the universal language of light behind all forms. Sidebar, a lot of channelers have the 60-second gate activated in their design. And this is for this very reason I just mentioned. When the pitch of your frequency allows it, the words you speak and their emanations change and begin to serve a higher purpose. This purpose is twofold. Firstly, it transforms you because it allows you to really vibrate your heart and transmit your love through language. And secondly, it brings more light into the world and spreads the transmission of your awakening to others. There is deep magic woven into language. It is why the origin of the word spell correlates with the idea of casting spells that have power over others. Every word has an inner spirit, a code of light that lends it an independent force in the cosmos. The moment a word or group of words is given voice, vibrations radiate out into the universe. There is no return. At the level of the 60-second gift, your use of words become much more precise because you recognize this great truth. As your language becomes purer, you expose your heart to others and to the world. You are taking the great step, the leap from worship to embodiment. The 60-second gift represents the true power behind the gene keys themselves. At first, it gives you a private inner language that allows you to initiate a deep transformation of your shadow consciousness. At a certain stage in your journey, however, you will feel the call of this language within you and its urge to escape into the world through your voice. I feel very much so embodying that right now as I'm sharing this system with you that has helped me so much. So, stepping back to my blog here, the world of intellect, the gift of precision, is what the ancients called the Maya, or the illusion, and the gift of precision has the ability to see beyond the Maya by going through the illusion. It happens when we bring our lives into alignment with sacred principles, when we finally allow our heart to lead and our mind to serve. When we finally allow our heart to lead and our mind to serve, to restore authority to the place of truth, and to relieve the mind of its falsely assumed power. Oh, God. Love is the only way to dismantle the Maya. And it's not yearning love or needing love, it's unconditional love. Love rooted in service to the whole. And so we'll go straight into the city now. Impeccability. And if the city feels big to you, if the city feels mystical, good, you're understanding it correctly. The language of perfection. At the shadow frequency, fact has all the influence. At the acidic frequency, only truth has influence. And when truth is expressed through your physicality, it becomes impeccability. So be gone intellectual thinking. You can't enter here. Facts have no meaning here. Words have no meaning here. Only the presence behind the words has meaning. This is embodied truth. That brings emotions to the surface for me. It's really, really special when you can feel a key penetrate you and land in that way. And so I will encourage you, like the tree analogy, to be with the tree, to see the tree, to be with another, to see another, to allow your breath to bring you into the present moment, to allow your curiosity to bloom, and to set aside the facts of a being and instead see the truth of a being. I love you. I hope this has impacted you in some beneficial way. Let me know any reflections or thoughts you have. And if you have ran your gene keys and you have the 62 somewhere present in your hologenetic profile, please do share. I'd be curious to know. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.